Afternoon. Yes, if everyone can mute themselves except for our presenter. My name is Martha Espinoza with the Livermore Valley Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome you to today's Lunch and Learn. We always are learning, right? We can always learn something new. Today's topic is interesting, considering we all are on social media every day. It's the 3 most common mistakes about social media. And today, Deborah Finestone, who has been doing, she has 20 years career in communications and marketing, and has spent the last 6 years focusing on social media and marketing, and is certified in social media marketing, and who helps clients build their brand and awareness in social media. Her strengths help businesses get in front of everyone who could use her services or products, develop strong relationships and convert them into clients or customers. We are, the Livermore Chamber of Commerce is a client of Deborah, and I can tell you personally that our numbers are going up on social media. She's doing a terrific job in promoting us. She's very creative and knows what she's doing when it comes to promoting businesses and getting the most out of the social media marketing. So without further ado, I have Deborah, who will tell us all that we're doing wrong, and then we can call her and she can fix it. Thank you, Deborah, for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for that introduction. I'm glad you guys are happy with my work. I love working with you guys. So I'm going to share my screen really quick, and I can't cover like everything everyone might be doing wrong on social media in one, this hopefully will be about a half-hour presentation, but I do like to talk about the 3 most common mistakes I see people make and how to fix them. The good news is they're easy to fix. But I like to start with a question. How would you like to have an extra week of vacation? An extra week that's just time away that you don't have to worry about spending it on your business. And I ask this because it turns out that's about the amount of time that a lot of business owners spend on their social media marketing every year. It breaks down to about 3 hours a week, but a lot of people spend more than that. They spend up to 6 hours a week. 24% of people said that I surveyed said they spend up to 6 hours a week. And another 20% said they spend more than 6 hours a week. So that's 2 weeks a year spent on your social media marketing. And time is just one of the challenges that was most often cited by business owners. A lot of how long you spend on social media depends how many platforms you're on. And more than half of people said that they were on at least 3 platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, something else, so on. And business owners tend to handle it themselves. 88%, according to my survey, said they do it. And so when you're spending so much time doing something yourself, especially as a business owner, you have to think about why you're doing it. And some people get a lot of business from their social media, so that's easy to understand. And a lot of people, it's a little bit more up in the air. They either felt that they needed to, or were told they needed to be on social media, and so they did it. But deep down, they're not really sure if it's effective. And part of all that depends on what you're doing on social media, what counts as part of your marketing here. Some people will post whenever something comes to them, or when they have a new product or service to promote. Some people on the other end of the spectrum are posting a lot. About 60% of people said they post multiple times a week, some even more than 5 times a week. And I know that there is so much that goes into that. It's finding or taking the photos to use, or the video, or creating graphics and writing the caption, maybe doing some research that goes into what you put in the caption, posting it on all those multiple platforms, responding to comments if they have them, and it's just a lot, right? So you have to ask the question, is social media marketing helping you bring in revenue? Now, the good news is a good chunk of people I talked to said yes, they're confident it's working. Good. 28% said they think it's helpful, but aren't really sure how much. And the rest said they don't think it's helping their business, or they admitted that they don't know. Well, how would you know is that you have to look at your metrics, see what the numbers are. And again, it goes back to there's so many different pieces to this that it can really feel like a lot just doing your social media marketing. And I get it that most people built their business because they want to contribute to the world in some way that is their special talent, their special gift. And they also want to enjoy their own life. You want time and energy for your family, your friends, your hobbies, passions. You got into your business to do something besides online marketing. So I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be overwhelming. If you have a solid strategy customized for your business and who you want to attract. And I know this because it's the story of my first client, which I'll get back to later, because I want to get into showing you ways to fix some of the common mistakes I see so that it makes it easier to do social media right. So the three most common mistakes are believing you need to do everything yourself, posting and ghosting, and selling all the time. So starting at the top, doing everything yourself. I know it can be so stressful if you think you have to come up with everything yourself and post it on multiple platforms, multiple times a week. But there is an alternative or something that can help. You can demonstrate your expertise in your field by curating other people's content. So you don't want to pick competitors for obvious reasons, but I like to pick places that either do similar work or something that you're a fan of. So for example, I use a couple different social media scheduling platforms, or have used Hootsuite and Later up until recently. And they have really, really good blogs. They put out a lot of good content. So sometimes I will share that with my audience when I think it's something that's relevant to them, when it's something that's helpful for them. Now, you can't make this all of your content. It still has to be a good amount of you showing why they want to work with you. And I will get to that a little bit later. But the other thing is that I always feel like I need to point out sometimes here. It's pretty easy to solve this when you're posting someone else's blog. But if you're posting an image or a graphic, you have to be really careful. Don't steal. And that just means give credit to whoever created it. And I think a lot of people do this unintentionally. It's not trying to steal, but that's what it's doing. So you have to know where that line is, and something I definitely watch out for with my clients, because it's not even necessary. You can share someone else's work and be a resource for your audience and still give credit. They're still getting it from you. They still have value from that. It shows you're an expert, and it helps you be more consistent, be on the platforms more often without having to create everything yourself. Sometimes an added bonus is that you might be seen by their audience if they also share that you shared their post. So here's kind of an example of that. This is a post by a guy named Christo, who I follow on Instagram. And this is a guess. This is not his content. It's from a woman who, I looked it up. She has about 1,000 followers. He shared it with his 400,000 followers. Obvious benefit for her. She gets seen by a whole lot more people. And it's a big benefit for him because he didn't have to create content that day. This is a 10-slide carousel. It's a lot of work. And as an audience, we still get a lot of value out of it, even though I had never heard of her. So it's an easy win for both of them. Like I said, it can't be everything you post, just kind of a small percentage. Sometimes I mention this, sometimes I don't. So this is about getting seen by more people, right? And being more consistent. The other way to reach a wider audience is using hashtags. And there are whole strategies to that. They take a lot of research. They vary by platform, so people have to watch out for that. And there's a method for this that I teach to my clients. But today, I just want to talk about curation, about sharing other people's content that's educational or relevant for your audience. Next mistake, I like to call posting and ghosting. There's a marketing maxim that goes with this. I'm sure you've heard that the fortune is in the follow-up. And it works in networking also, but it's very true on social media. It's not just a one-way street, and that's the beauty of it. So the idea is that it's called social media, right? You can be social with more people. I also think of this as a version of giving good customer service, which is something important for every business, right? So if you owned a brick and mortar store and someone walked into your store and was looking around and then asked you a question, you wouldn't look them in the face and then walk away without answering them. It would be rude, it'd be unprofessional, and you probably wouldn't make a sale. So it's kind of simple. Don't do that on social media. That's why I say don't post and ghost. Respond to everyone who leaves a comment for you, leaves a question for you. It's just how you build rapport with people and build their trust in you so that they want to do business with you. Now, I've definitely seen a lot of examples of people doing this wrong, of not responding, but I want to share an example of social media done right. So last year during COVID, the fairgrounds obviously had to cancel the county fair, but then they started doing drive-in movies for a little while. And I only heard about this on Instagram. And so when they finally released what the shows were and how to sign up for it and how it all works, I went to my husband and talked to him about doing it and picking a movie. And by the time I went to go order tickets, they had already sold out of the first 2 shows. Well, I was kind of bummed, but what are you going to do, right? So actually I left a comment on that post and I asked something I thought a lot of people would ask, which is, when do tickets for the next show go on sale? And they answered me, okay, great, put that on my calendar. I'll just buy tickets for the next one, no problem. But then actually a few days later, I got a DM, a direct message from them in Instagram saying they had opened up those first 2 shows. They were able to sell more tickets. And here's the link to where you can buy your tickets. Cool, click. I bought tickets. We went to the drive-in movie. It was actually the first drive-in for both of us. Neither of us had done that before. And the fairgrounds made money. That's the idea here, right? That's ROI. That's the return on your investment. And you do that through those comments and messages for the most part. Something important to consider, that as much as getting a lot of likes feels good and having a lot of followers probably feels good, they're sometimes called vanity metrics. And while they can be good feedback on whether you're sharing stuff that people care about, that resonates with them, it's not what makes you money. We're in business, right? Bottom line, want to make money, you need that kind of little bit higher level engagement. You want those comments and messages from people. And you get there by being responsive and building trust. So don't disappear and ghost people. Sorry, I'm really thirsty right now. Mistake number 3, selling all the time. Another one of those marketing maxims I like is people don't like being sold to, but they love buying. So you have to figure out kind of where's that middle ground? Where do you give them the opportunity to buy, to be able to choose to get something without being like when you walk into a store and someone's, how can we help you today? I hate that. I'm always like, no, I'm good. I'm browsing. I don't know. I want to find it myself. There's a psychological pleasure, really. There's so much marketing that's psychology. There's a pleasure in finding something you want and getting to choose it yourself and then acquire it, take it home. So how do you give people that opportunity through something like social media, really any kind of marketing? And the good news is there's a good guideline for this. The basic breakdown is that you should spend 80% of your time educating people, providing value, and entertaining them, and only 20% of the time selling. Now, this varies throughout the year for sure, but it's a really helpful kind of balance. I also want to point out entertaining, while it can mean funny memes or graphics and stuff, it can also mean if you're motivating people or inspiring them or commiserating with common problems. That all falls into that category. Now, for some businesses, kind of how do you decide when to do the 80 and when to do the 20? For some businesses, there's a seasonality. The most obvious one is retail and Black Friday, right? For a lot of coaches and consultants, they might be launching programs. So that would be when you do your selling. If you're a business that has a lot of events, you sell around those and otherwise educate, provide value, and entertain people. And the important thing to remember with all of this is that you want to keep a little different perspective than I think a lot of people naturally find, which is always thinking about what's in it for them. What do your viewers, your audience want and need? Or what are they asking you for? Or what have they asked you for in the past? It's not about your agenda or interests or what you're trying to sell. And this brings us back to the story of my first client. My first client is here in Livermore. It's a nonprofit organic garden called Fertile Groundworks, and they give all their produce to local soup kitchens and food pantries. I love this organization. And when I first started working with them, I started as a volunteer and then I started doing their social media. They were very, very technical in what they were sharing. It was done by the executive director, who was just posting whatever came to him when he was out volunteering in the garden. Again, this is very natural, but it's not what you want to do in marketing. And I looked at it and I said, sometimes it seems really technical, like I said, of like how they're amending the soil or what kind of organic, heirloom cucumber they're planting this week. I wanted to help grow their audience because this, like I said, I think this place is such a gem. So you need to figure out how to connect with people without or before you ask them to open their wallets or spend hours weeding in their case. So we went from posts like this, where it might be a little hard to see, but there are 11 likes on this. And I did a lot of experimentation. We did different kind of photos, different captions, different lengths of captions, asking questions in captions, and seeing what would get people to comment or share on it or show up for events. And a lot of that, like I said, it's looking at your metrics, what's working and what's not, and then adjusting accordingly. And it worked. We went from stuff like that to posts like this, where now we get more comments, more sharing, more people tagging each other, their friends or other volunteers in posts. And it's posts like this that get, this one was a little over 4,700 people. That's connection. That's what you're trying to build on social media. You're trying to build those relationships that people are interested in, showing something that's interested. Now, I did say earlier, likes don't matter that much, right? You want something a little bit more. Is it bringing in revenue? Well, the good news is we do that with this group. So this was also something we did during COVID, right at the beginning when things had really just shut down. And I think as an organization, we were doing what I saw a lot of people doing, which is like, how do we help people? And so I suggested connecting how we help people hurt by COVID. Namely, like I said, they give all their produce to soup kitchens and food pantries. And one of the groups that gets served by soup kitchens and food pantries is people who are unemployed. And we had very high unemployment at that point. So I spearheaded a really quick social media campaign. We had up a few posts. We sent out one email asking. This was our first ask for money. Normally we're having an event or we're selling vegetables or plants or something. This was just hey, do you want to give us money? So it was a big risk for the group. And we were really happy with the outcome. We raised about 10 times as much money as I had dared to hope for. It really showed that now we have fans that we can go to for support. And that's what we had built. So those kind of results take a lot of strategizing, testing, and analysis, of course. It's part of a complete system that I teach my clients or I use with them if I'm managing their accounts like this one. And you have to figure out what that 80% is for them. What worked a lot is teaching, generally about organic gardening, and the feel-good stories about what they're doing, about who benefits from it. Even they teach a lot about organic gardening in the garden, especially when they have a lot of kids groups. So those kind of posts do pretty well. So you got to figure out what works for you. So if you're a service provider like myself, an important thing to do in that 80% is also letting people get to know you. So here's one I did. This was over my birthday. We took a short trip up to Lassen National Park. And I decided to share it and talk a little bit about gratitude, because if you get to know me or work with me or a friend of mine, this is something I practice regularly. It's important in my life. You'll hear about it at some point. And that's the important point here. As you're building a business, and we said, using social media to build a relationship, you have to let people know a little bit about what it's like to work with you. It's a vacation post. It's a pretty picture. There's nothing salesy about it, right? And yet people responded. They connected to it. Sometimes it can be really simple. Gratitude is a little bit of a deeper value. It can be really simple, like hiking. I was talking about hiking. Lots of people like hiking. If you have dogs, show your dogs. Lots of people like dogs. It can be really simple. Just important so that you're not selling them. So going back to those mistakes, instead of having to do everything yourself, curate and share relevant content with your audience. Instead of posting and ghosting, respond to everything. And instead of selling all the time, provide value, educate, and entertain. Doing these things will help you build trusting relationships, show what you're like, show you're an expert, and let you show up consistently so that you stay top of mind when people are ready to do business. I hope all of this feels doable and it will make you more effective. Of course, there's a whole lot more to maximizing what social media can do for you. Ultimately, what you want is to implement a tested, dependable strategy to develop loyal fans. That's going to work a lot better than thinking a cool picture is enough. And of course, you can do it all yourself. Like we said, lots of people do. Or you can get help with some pieces like the graphics or the scheduling. Or you can work with an expert to pull all the pieces together for you. But if what you want is to feel calm, powerful, and confident, that the time you spend on social media will attract you loyal fans and make you money, the solution is partnering with an expert. You can reach lots of potential customers who are looking for exactly what you want, exactly what you offer, without spending a ton of time and throwing spaghetti at the wall. And I know a lot of people, small businesses, especially solopreneurs, if you're worried about the expense, I encourage you to think about the cost of inaction, of continuing to do things the way you've been doing them and getting the results you're getting, which maybe isn't exactly what you want. You want to get help so that your resources get used more effectively and you measure what's working and stop wasting time and energy doing something that's not working. You want to make sure you're attracting the right audience that's bringing in business and lets you enjoy other stuff in your life. That has a lot of value, right? So going back to the time, we said, a lot of people said they spend about 3 hours a week. A few people said they spend up to 10 hours a week. That's so much time. And they also said, that survey, that a lot of people said it feels like a chore. So you have to think of how much that costs you, both in dollars and other missed opportunities. However, you have a choice. I want you to imagine what it would look like to be able to attract the people you want to attract and to not have to do it blind and alone anymore. I find most business owners love talking about the talent they have, the skills they want to share, how they help people, how they make the world a better place, how they help people live happier, healthier, more prosperous lives. And I want you to picture being able to do that with more people. So for me, my purpose is to teach and support entrepreneurs so that they can do that for more people, kind of the one step removed. My even higher goal is to help people have fun doing it, which I believe is totally possible. So I want you to think about what your life would look like if you could solve this problem. In the meantime, if you want more ideas about what to share as part of that 80%, because one of the biggest questions I get is, what do I post if I'm supposed to be there 3 to 5 times a week? I encourage you to pick up, I have a free social media content calendar and prompts, and I'll also put this link in the chat after I stop sharing. But feel free to take a screenshot. This free download, it'll give you a quick plan so you can be consistent and show up in ways that will attract the right kind of clients for you. That's most of my presentation today. I hope you walk away with some doable ways to make social media more effective. And I hope you realize you don't need to waste your time checking a box and not knowing if it's supporting you or helping you reach your goals. I want to share one last thing, actually. It's a thought that applies to all parts of your business. Businesses don't have a choice of whether or not to do social media. Their choice is how well they do it. And that I think is true in everything. You always want quality and effectiveness over just winging it. I think that's everything I had. I appreciate your time and I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Deborah. That was great. And do we have any questions? I don't see anything on the chat, but you can unmute yourself and ask the question if you'd like.
A
Don't
quick
be
question, if you don't mind.
No?
Yeah, go for it.
So and I know you didn't really get into hashtags, and I know hashtags are big on Instagram. Do hashtags help on Facebook, or is it much more effective on Instagram and other platforms like LinkedIn? I know Twitter lives off of hashtags,
Right.
but
Are you on Twitter for business?
I am on Twitter. I don't use it. I mostly ignore it. So there's so much noise out there. It's hard to rise above the noise.
For a lot of businesses, it can be really it's good for certain types of businesses, and other ones like you don't want to get involved in it. So that's why I know what you do, and so I was just like, you probably don't want to deal with it for business. Use it for yourself. But yes, so hashtags on Facebook, it's a good question. I use them because, and I use fewer of them, far fewer than on Instagram, because there's been a lot of things that Facebook is doing that it seems like it's moving towards using them more and encouraging them. It uses them in search. So when people search for things, it will include stuff involved in hashtags, whether or not you're actually searching for the hashtag. I also know someone who tested this and they said they've had a lot of success using hashtags in Facebook. They had stopped using them for a while and then started using them and then was using small ones and even big ones. Normally the advice is don't use the really big ones, the ones that have like more than 1 million uses or users, depending on the platform. But she was using the bigger ones and it was actually getting more reach. So more people were seeing it. So she, so I've been doing that and I'll get back to you with the results. I haven't used it all that long. I think it's worth doing at least a few. You don't want nearly as many as on Instagram because some people get annoyed by it. I always weigh it as, do I want to reach a lot more people or am I worried about annoying a few people? I want to reach more people. Like I'm not, some big old influencer that I don't want to annoy anybody, that I don't need to reach more people. That's what I need. It's what my clients need. So like I prioritize that business need. They're used very differently on LinkedIn. People can follow hashtags, and as a business, you can follow hashtags. So that one's also different, and all the numbers are different. They're not used as often, but people do follow them. It shows up in their notifications. You get conversations going on them. So it's worth doing.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Deborah, you mentioned consistency, and I think that has been a great thing for us now that you have been helping us out, because our numbers have changed. But it's that also being creative on being consistent and not just posting something that, it's not going to call anyone's attention. So I know that you pick up on a topic and then you build on it, which is your advice, correct? I mean,
yeah, and I try to, some things you can do that, some things it doesn't necessarily make sense, but in a lot of cases it does.
Okay. Thank you. I see you've posted the link or to the calendar.
Yeah, that's the link to the free calendar. So.
Take advantage of that. It is helpful. So anyone else have a question?
Anything at all?
Yes, we will be posting this recording. So if you missed something, and as I said, Deborah is a member of the Livermore Valley Chamber of Commerce. She will be seen and participating on our events. And so if you want to contact her personally, she is a member, or if you want to put your information or contact her personally on this webinar, please do. She is very helpful with all this information.
Maybe we'll see her at the next mixer.
At the
Right.
next mixer. So put that
Telling her,
on
yeah,
your
planning on being
calendar.
there.
Not
We're
putting you on the spot.
live. We're gonna be live.
Our in-person mixer, absolutely. We're so excited. We're having a business expo next month on August 18th at Garay. So we'll all be there. So
Yep.
please participate and let us know if you can answer any questions, even offline when this is over. So thank you so much. If you have ideas on what you would like to have a webinar on, or you have something that you'd like to share with others, that please let us know, and we'll set something up. And the more we know, right, the more every day we're learning. So thank you so very much. I know time is very valuable to everyone, and we appreciate it. And thank you, Deborah. Thank you all that have participated, and looking forward to seeing you all in person soon. Good afternoon, and we'll see you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you
Deborah.
everyone
Thanks,
for
Martha.
coming.
Absolutely. Have a good afternoon.
Take care.
Take care.